Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review on the Hayabusa E1 boxing gloves. So stay tuned. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here. Today I'm doing a review on the Hayabusa E1 boxing gloves. Got mine in the blue and black colorway. 16 ounces. It is a Velcro closure only model. You can get it anywhere between 10 to 18 ounces with a total of 6 different colorways, which you can check out on the Hayabusa website. It's made of a synthetic polyurethane, which Hayabusa calls Vylar, and utilizes a soft, foamy liner on the inside of the hand compartment. The same type of material they use in their other gloves, and utilizes layered foam padding over the knuckles that I'd say is about medium in firmness, and the gloves are manufactured in Vietnam. Now, from a design standpoint, it looks pretty similar to the H5 gloves as well as their T3s in terms of just the overall aesthetic of the glove. I'd say from a profile and sizing standpoint for a 16-ounce glove, I'd say they're medium. Very similar to the T3s, a little bit stockier than the H5s in my opinion, but in terms of sizing, I say it's pretty close to those other gloves from Hayabusa in terms of sizing. So if you have yourself a pair of T3s or even the H5s, then these are going to be, from a dimension standpoint for a 16-ounce glove, they're going to be pretty similar to those. So if you're looking kind of for like a reference point, that's what I would use it as. And obviously, because they're all a Hayabusa product, I'm sure they use very similar molds when they make the glove. It utilizes the synthetic Vylar, which again they use in their T3 and their H5 model. The same exact material on here. I feel like the synthetics that Hayabusa uses is more of a premium synthetic. Very similar to like what Rival uses and some other companies that have synthetics. Definitely not the cheaper, lower end budget stuff you would find at like Dick's Sporting Goods on the cheap Everlast synthetic models that feel really thin and tacky. This definitely has a little bit more of a higher durability in my opinion when it comes to the synthetics. I'd say that it has a satin finish to it when you're looking at the actual glove. You do have that Hayabusa Falcon or Hawk logo right here. Has a little bit of a texture to it on towards your index finger knuckle, so you have that. And again, just more aesthetic design. You have this black line that kind of V's off, that kind of comes down one side next to the micro suede thumb, and then the other one kind of comes up, down, and across. You also have the thumb that is made of that micro suede material that they have on the vast majority of the Hayabusa gloves, and they implemented that. That way, if you're sweating and you need to wipe your face off, you have the thumb here that will kind of help wipe away that moisture and absorb it. The only downside to this material is over time, the more you use it and the more you sweat, this eventually will get really hard and kind of brittle because there's so much sweat that's soaked into it. You can try cleaning it, but then it starts to make the material, this micro suede, kind of gets rough and frayed. So just something to keep in mind if you're using this to wipe the sweat off your face. Coming down here, you do have the elastic Velcro strap that says Hayabusa vertically, and you also have the split in color between the blue and the black. Rotating to the palm side, it does show the weight in 16 ounces right down there. And you again have the Velcro strap that is attached to the inside seam right here. And it does utilize the elastic that attaches to that, and it's stitched on the inside of the Velcro. I'm not a big fan of this elastic because if you've ever had any type of boxing glove that uses the elastic for the Velcro strap, then you know that over time, this eventually wears out. It basically loosens up the more you use it to tighten up your wrist. And over time, it becomes frayed and it gets really worn out, and you get all this extra slack in the Velcro strap because this elastic tends to wear out. So I'm not a big fan of that. I do see the benefit of it in the fact that when you do use the elastic, is that it gives you a little bit more of a kind of like a tension type pull. So when you're pulling it across and you really want a little bit more tension, then that's where the benefit of the elastic comes in, where if it's just a solid rigid piece of leather or polyurethane, then you don't get kind of that tension to feel that you get with the elastic strap. But again, just the durability over time isn't the best. You'll also notice the Velcro wraps around all the way around to the inside right here. It's the softer side of Velcro, which is a good thing. It's not the rough Velcro on the inside of the strap itself. But I can appreciate that because there's gloves I've had in the past where the strap itself is way too long, and then you end up having the Velcro tab kind of just hangs over the back of the glove, and there's nothing there for it to wrap around on. So I do like the fact that they thought that over and let the Velcro wrap around and feed onto the palm side. That way you have a little extra to where you can wrap the Velcro around if it overextends around the glove. The inside liner, again, just kind of that soft foamy liner on the inside of the hand compartment, similar liners to what they use in their other products. You also have the tag down there where that shows where it's designed and manufactured. The inside of the palm, or should I say the inner palm, utilizes a synthetic mesh all throughout the palm. Again, similar to the H5 model, elastic that keeps the piping together, and that synthetic mesh goes all the way through the entire palm. You do have a grip bar. I'd say it's about medium in density, but on the smaller side, and you can see it kind of ends prematurely. I wish it was a full length grip bar, and I wish it was larger. And you also have a synthetic attached thumb right here at the very tip of the thumb with Hayabusa written across the finger right there. So we'll give you guys a little close-up of that. There you have it. And you can also see the thickness of the glove. It's probably, I'd say, about 2 inches in total thickness of the actual foam that they utilize with this glove. You know, put them next to each other. From a quality standpoint, for a synthetic glove, the quality on these gloves are pretty solid. I put them on the scale. The left glove weighed in at, I want to say 15.4 ounces. The other one was at 15.7. So both gloves, I'd say, if you want to average it out, were about half an ounce under their advertised weight of 16 ounces. Not a huge disparity in terms of weight, but obviously worth mentioning in the review. And again, I mean, if you're looking at half an ounce, you're really not going to feel that when you're using the glove. So I prefer, if a glove is going to be off weight, to be heavier than the advertised weight, because I feel like I'm getting more glove for the money because of that weight. So if they weighed like 16.5, yes, they're heavier, but I feel again like I'm getting more glove for the money. So again, these I'd say average out are about a half ounce underweight. But again, the material in here is that same synthetic Mylar. I didn't find any glaring issues with the glove. The stitching on here is all pretty solid for the most part. Obviously, not a lot of people are a fan of mesh. Just in general, any type of synthetic mesh on a glove, typically from a durability standpoint, doesn't last very long, especially compared to leather. So that I would say is kind of a drawback. But again, you're kind of coming in at a glove at a cheaper price point. You do have the microsight, so I do like that added feature. You can see the stitching on here looks all pretty solid. The material looks good. You're not going to find any type of natural imperfections because it is a synthetic compared to a genuine leather glove. Obviously, genuine leather came off a living animal, so you might have imperfections throughout the leather, which is a normal occurrence. But with this, it's synthetic, so it's man-made. But you can see on the thumb, everything looks really good. Again, I wish that this grip bar was all the way out to the edge, and you can see it ends prematurely. Hayabusa logo looks good. And that's it for both gloves. Here's the Velcro strap with the elastic. Again, not a fan of the elastic because it'll wear out prematurely, in my opinion. And come down to the thumb, as well as the finger compartment and the back of the glove. Putting them next to each other, just to see how they look in terms of height and width. You can see they're the same height, the same width on the thumb side. In terms of symmetry, both gloves are symmetrical and the same size, same thickness of the padding or the foam inside the knuckle area. Coming over to the palm side, everything looks pretty much the same. One thing I thought was a little weird, and maybe this is just by design, is that you'll notice that the Hayabusa kind of has an angle to it that's written on the glove, and they both angle the same direction on the gloves, where I felt like if you're going to have one angle down to the thumb on the left, then it would angle down towards the thumb on the right, but in this case it angles upwards. So the Hayabusa, the way it's written, angles the same direction, so I didn't know if that was supposed to mirror each other or angle the same direction, but something I just noticed. Well, overall, pretty solid quality for a synthetic glove. Comfort-wise, sliding in my hand to the glove, The liner they use is very comfortable, although it does tend to get a little bit hot because of the material they use, and it kind of tends to soak up sweat a bit. So something that I would recommend with this type of glove is to really be cognizant of airing the gloves out after you use them. You know, don't just stuff them in your gym bag and let them rot away with all that moisture in there. That's how the gloves end up getting really smelly and funky on the inside. Thumb position is actually really good. So when I make a fist, I don't have any issues with my thumb jamming. The attached thumb does its job. Finger compartment has a good amount of depth. You also have that liner that covers any type of stitching in the fingertip area. Not too wide, not too narrow. Feels pretty comfortable. I'd say the gloves are a bit stiff when you first get them, so there's going to be a break-in period. It's not a broken-in glove where you can open and close your hand. So it's going to definitely take some time to break this foam in to give you that flexibility to open and close your hand to parry and catch shots. The palm side material feels really good. The piping at the base of the thumb feels good as well. It's large enough to let the fat part of my thumb get inside here without cutting off the circulation in my thumb. There's some gloves I've used where it's so tight that the actual piping pinches down so much on this portion of my thumb that I have like this red mark when I pull my hands out. Which is really uncomfortable. So finger compartment feels really good. I also feel that they use a kind of a softer foam, and the liner feels really good around my fist on the inside of the hand compartment. The wrist support, when you pull the Velcro strap, does a solid job. And again, you can see what I was talking about if I were to overextend the Velcro. A lot of gloves, if you overextend it, will have this extra or this excess tab sticking out if they don't have any Velcro. But they've done a good job to give you a little extra Velcro that wraps around so you can push that tab down and not let it just flare out and potentially scrape someone if you're to use these gloves for sparring for whatever reason. So I like the fact that they have that. And the actual elastic does a good job of locking in your wrist. But again, over time, this will eventually wear out. So the wrist support feels really good. And the length and height of the glove is a little bit more on the short and stockier side. So if you're somebody that likes a shorter glove, you know, very similar to like a tie style glove that's short and stocky, then you'll probably like these. It's not a long cuff. It's definitely shorter in my opinion than the H5 model from Hayabusa. But overall, pretty comfortable glove. Protection and performance wise, utilizes layered foam. On their website, they don't describe what kind of foam they use. The H5 uses a multi-layer foam. This seems to be very similar, although I feel like the H5 model does a better job of giving you feedback and pop and a good level of protection. I think this one does an admirable job as well. You get a decent amount of pop with the gloves. It doesn't really have a rounded out punch surface. It's a little bit more on the flat side, which I can appreciate. So they use this layered foam padding. I'd say that this glove, it's right there in the middle in terms of protection, in terms of pop and feedback. To me, this is kind of a good all-around training glove, especially for those of you that are maybe beginner to intermediate in combat sports or boxing. If you want to use this for bag work, you can, hitting the mitts and all that. And even for sparring, you know, if you wanted to, you could definitely use this glove for that as well. Obviously, with this Velcro strap, if you were to use these gloves for sparring, I would probably tape these off just in case. But outside of that, I'd say that these are a balanced glove in terms of the padding. Cost-wise, these gloves are $89.99, or if you want to round up, they're basically a $90 glove, which brings me to the point of why. And the reason I say that is they brought these gloves in and added to their lineup, their current gloves, which they have a lot of. They have the H5s, which are $99. So the H5s are $10 more than these gloves. And there's several features that are very similar. I feel like these are basically the stepbrother of the H5 that are not as good, in my opinion. I feel like the H5 has a slightly longer cuff, is a little bit more, I guess you could say a little bit more hand ergonomic. I can make a better fist with the H5, and I like the padding in the H5 a little bit more than I do with these. So I'm not too sure why Hayabusa even came out with these gloves, to be honest with you, because they're only a $10 difference. They look somewhat similar, but this is, to me, not as good. I mean, obviously for a $10 price point difference, these being cheaper, I would expect for them to not be as good as the H5. But if you're gonna get these at $90, I would just tell you to spend $10 more and just get the H5s. So that, to me, is where I'm a little confused on the price point of these gloves. because similar, just not as good. Now, if these gloves are like $60, $50, then yes, I can see why this would be a more of an attractive glove, because now you're getting into a price point for those people that are really beginners in the sport and are browsing Google and they're looking for a pair of boxing gloves and they see them at 50, 60 bucks compared to $99 compared to $100 for the H5s. Then you're like, okay, that's like a 40 to 50% price difference. That makes a big difference to a lot of people. So I would think, to me, this is a glove, in my opinion, that's overpriced. I think that this glove needs to be a little bit cheaper at the price point that it's at. I feel like the H5 is a better glove. If you're going to spend the $90 on these, then just spend the extra 10 and get the H5. To me, that's a more superior glove in Hayabusa's lineup if we were to compare their beginner to intermediate models, in my opinion. The gloves that are around that $100 price, $75 to $100 price range, in my opinion, the H5s would still be the gloves to get over these E1s. Solid gloves, but again, I think overpriced, and doesn't, to me, really make sense on why they made these gloves, especially with the gloves they currently offer in their model lineup. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys put them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box. You can find these Hayabusa E1 boxing gloves. I'll see you guys later. Peace.